Do you really need a big channel to make money on YouTube? I've got an answer for you that is pretty straightforward, but it's gonna take some overcoming some hurdles, I think, for a lot of people watching this. So let's jump into it. I'm Jesse with Inspire Video Marketing, where I show you how to build a YouTube-based business. If that's something you're looking to do, subscribe and turn on all notifications. So if you just heard my little intro spiel there, you probably know where I'm gonna go with this. I show people how to build YouTube-based businesses, and yes, you do not need a big channel to make money on YouTube. You don't need a big channel to build a business on YouTube. And here's a big mental hurdle I think a lot of people have that I'm gonna try to help you overcome right now. Just because you have a small channel does not mean there's no opportunity to make money. And I'm gonna give you a couple examples of how you could do this. But also, just because you have a small channel, this is the bigger hurdle I think for a lot of people, doesn't mean you are a sellout or a greedy person because you try to make money from your channel. That's just bogus. I'm sorry, but it's bogus, and it's time we put that out there, because here's the deal. When you go to a restaurant, you don't expect to get your food for free, do you? No. If you ask someone to do a service for you, like changing your tires, you don't expect that for free, do you? No. So why would it be so different for you to offer a service? Now, I think the problem here is a lot of people have this issue with sales and thinking that sales is evil, money is evil. But look, you don't go to your 9 to 5 and work for free, do you? No. So if you're, and let's break down actually why, before I get into that, why you need to change your perspective on this, like why it's okay for you to ask for money. All money is an exchange of value. You do something that helps someone, and in return you get money. So if you're going to offer a product or service, don't just look at it as the asking for money part, because if that's all you're focusing on, then yeah, it does seem pretty greedy, doesn't it? But think about this. What if you're offering a product or service where you, in your heart, believe and know that what people are gonna get in return for that money is worth more than the money that they gave you? They gave you $5 and you feel like you gave them $20 worth of content or a product or a service or whatever that is. If you have that in mind, I think that right there should give you plenty of reason to not feel so greedy about it. So the first thing you wanna attack this from when it comes to trying to make money on YouTube as a smaller creator is asking yourself, what can I provide people that would help them? And when you have that in mind, now you can take that and ask yourself, well, how can I help them a little more, right? And the more you can help people, the more you can take and ask for money. Now, here's the thing. When you're trying to help people, a lot of YouTubers look at helping people as, okay, well then I've got to show them how to do something. I've got to teach them something. But there's a lot of things you can do to help people. First of all, entertainment is help. Now, you might not think of it as help, but look at it this way. A lot of people connect and talk to each other and spend a lot of their time with each other watching Netflix, don't they? Well, what does that help them with? It helps them with those things I just talked about: connection, entertainment, just killing some time, something to talk about with other people, something to spend time with other people. It's something that you can bring people together with, and gives all those things I just talked about. But on top of that too, your content could be, if it's for entertainment and maybe you don't have a huge audience and something that a lot of people are gonna talk about, it can still provide that sense of connection and community that Netflix can. So if you're thinking about like, okay, well, how could I help people? Don't look at it just from the lens of products and services that are more like how-to or information, or I'm gonna do this for you. And that brings me to the next one, is services. I think that's one way that almost everyone can look at, okay, you know what, I could ask people for money for this because it seems more in line with a 9 to 5 job, right? I come to work, I work 5 hours, I'm gonna get paid $10 for each of those 5 hours, and I expect to get $50, right? So we're all familiar with that concept. And I think mentally it's less of a hurdle for a lot of people to say, okay, I've got a small YouTube channel, but you know what? I've got pretty good at editing at this point. and I'm gonna offer that as a service because a lot of people like the way my videos are edited, or whatever it is that you're doing in your videos, like whatever your channel's about, video games, whatever. You could offer a service where you're saying, hey, I'm gonna help you with this. I'm gonna give you my time in exchange for money, and I'm gonna try to help you get this result. It's pretty much that simple. People are going to be willing to pay to be helped, to get that benefit, right? So if you can think about that, I think for a lot of channels, like number one, you stand to more quickly be able to come up with something, be able to offer it, and make money a little bit quicker. If you're thinking about a good service that, again, you feel like they're getting more than what they paid you, right? If they're gonna get $20 worth of a service from you, of help from you, and they're only gonna pay you $5 an hour, or $5 for that one thing you're gonna do for them. Whether, you could charge this based on hours, you could charge this based on project. It's one fee and you get this done and however long it takes me, right? It doesn't really matter how you structure it. Well, it does matter, but the point is, don't think about it too much at first. Just get over that mental hurdle of thinking that just because you're a small creator that you can't make money outside of ad revenue. And that's one of the big things I wanna make sure you're understanding here is like, look, so many creators like, oh, I want to try to make it big with ad revenue, and that's really my only option. No, you are missing out. So don't just look at ad revenue, because honestly, you stand to make, and I'm not lying here, 10 times more money on YouTube than you ever would from AdSense. So by monetizing your YouTube audience off of AdSense, you could make 10 times more money. I'll have a video at the end of this that will talk more about how you can go about that. That being said, if you look at that, I think that should help you overcome that hurdle, and maybe that's a good first step. Here's a couple other ways though, that a lot of people as small YouTubers think that they can't make money, but they actually can. Sponsors. You can get people to sponsor, yes, small YouTube channels. In fact, a lot of companies are looking for smaller channels because they know it's more of a niche, it's not gonna cost them quite as much, but at the same time, like if you have an audience that's very specific about one thing, a lot of sponsors that fit within that one thing, they're gonna be willing to put some money in front of you. So I would definitely not overlook that. In fact, when I had my channel, Get Handles Basketball, before, like right now it's at like 500,000 subscribers, but well before that, I wanna say I was at like 10, 20,000 subscribers. I was getting emails from companies asking me to feature their products and services in my videos. And that's a perfect opportunity for me now to say, well, okay, I can do that for this much money. And of course, you're not gonna be able to maybe charge a ton of money, but you could maybe double what you're making every month from YouTube AdSense, your ad revenue from your views. So that's an awesome way to start making a little bit of extra money. A simple thing that you could do to help maybe put you more in line to do this, that I noticed with my channel though, is if you do a little bit more reviews or just talking about certain products and services more frequently without them being sponsored, you'll get a lot more brands reaching out to you. That's one thing I've just noticed. There's a little hack for you. And then there's different websites and things like that out there that you can use to reach out to sponsors and try to get sponsorships. Or you could even reach out to them directly, by finding a way of getting in contact with them from their websites. So a couple things to keep in mind there, but definitely do not overlook sponsors. Like, you can get a sponsor for a couple of videos, maybe multiple videos, a whole series. Maybe you work out a deal, or maybe you got another following on another platform that you could say, hey, I'll also promote it there, right? And that can raise the price. Those are all ways for you to make a little bit of extra money. But don't overlook sponsors. Like, even if you only have 1,000 subscribers, 500 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, that's enough. You might not get a lot for each sponsored video, but it's something, and it's more than you probably make from the YouTube ad revenue, because you're going to give a direct, they're paying for the person in the video that's built a relationship with the audience to give a direct review on the product, or your stamp of approval on the product, or whatever the case may be. Of course, make sure you actually do think the product is good. Don't just say it's good because you don't want to lose the trust of your audience. That's always much more valuable. But that alone right there, brands are willing to pay for. It's different to have like an ad before the video and just like, it's just there. But then the person in the video, if you've given them some entertainment, you've given them value through information or whatever the case may be, and then you say to the person, hey, I actually really like this product, check it out. That brand just got a really great testimonial, and testimonials help things sell 100%. I can tell you that from my history of online marketing and sales and all that stuff. So that's another great way that you could be bringing in some extra revenue, and that you could, even as a small channel, make some money. I've got 2 other ways for you to make some extra money from YouTube, but I want to make sure I'm clear about all these, like what you can expect from them. So the next would be merchandise. You can make a little bit of extra money from merchandise, but usually it's not the best, honestly. It's usually going to be, you know, that you got all the upfront costs of getting the product made, the cost of the materials to make the product, the cost of shipping it, right? When you think about all that stuff, people have to be willing to pay a pretty good amount of money to get that. So they have to have a really strong relationship with you as the creator. And on top of that, like, they have to really want that product. Like, you got to make that product or merch or that t-shirt or the saying on it like look good, have something that has a lot of impact and meaning to it. And yes, if you do that right, you can stand to make a little extra money. But again, think about all the costs that go into just getting it to the person, between the materials, the shipping, all that stuff. So that's why typically I don't really recommend that as a great way. Like, it's more, to me, if I'm going to sell merchandise, it's more about just giving something to people to help them represent the brand, so to speak, and get some, you know, advertising out there and build that connection with people. So when, you know, if I were to sell Inspire t-shirts, you would be in that Inspire mindset that day, right? And be thinking about, you know, some of the strategies, right? So it can kind of help build the relationship and keep people thinking about your brand a little more, and be some free advertising. But I typically would not look at a lot of that kind of stuff as being a great way to make a lot of extra money. It might just be a little bit extra. And that brings me to the next one, and I think this is a much better way of making money. Now, there's a lot of ways you could do this, but I just want to give you some of the most, you know, time-tested and proven ways to do so. And that would be some sort of a online, you know, it could be a membership through Patreon. It could be a course that you sell, online information / entertainment. Thinking of yourself as being like Netflix, or possibly, you know, something more educational, where, you know, I guess courses, I can't really think of a good analogy for that, but I'm sure we're all familiar with the concept of buying a course online, or paying for access to a Patreon, or a monthly membership through YouTube, right? Things like that. Typically, that's going to be one of the best uses of your platform to make a little bit extra money. It could be exclusive content, it could be behind the scenes, it could be teaching people how to do things. Like, these are all great ideas that you can use, that a lot of people successfully are. And no, it doesn't mean because you have a small channel that you don't have a big enough audience to do that. You do have a big enough audience, probably. Depending on where your subscriber count is at, I would say like 100 could be enough if you've got a really strong relationship with your audience and they absolutely love what you give them, and what you give them is something that they can't get anywhere else. Like, no one's, if it's like super niche and no one else is covering that, or you're covering it from a really unique angle and they are passionate, a lot of times they will pay for extra content, a behind the scenes, access to a community that they couldn't normally have access to, educational content. A great example of this is business channels, like channels, or I should say channels that are focused more towards people in business for a certain thing, right? I have a product or a service, and I'm gonna have a video that's basically about that product or service. Like, a lot of times companies will like put a brand channel up, and yes, they might not get thousands of views because it's almost all like about their products and ads, and it's not like content, so to speak. But the people watching are more likely to buy, right? Because they've hit that exact audience that solves a problem, solves a need. So if you have a how-to content, you know, that's showing people how to do something that's really valuable to them, that matters a lot to them, and you're gonna help them overcome some sort of an obstacle or make their life easier, help them make more money, get better health, better relationships. People, a lot of times, if they trust you and they've loved your content, will be willing to pay a lot of money for those sort of things. And that's why, like, to me, like, this more online, like, entertainment and information and memberships and all that stuff is one of the ways to go, because it doesn't cost a lot of money to make it. Like, it's more kind of in a way of what people already came to you for, right? They came to your video for a certain expectation, so you know what they're interested in, and then you're just gonna simply give them something that makes that process or that thing better or easier, or takes it to the next level, or gives them something more expansive than they would be able to get from your YouTube channel, or something that they can't get from your YouTube channel. So that's something to definitely consider, and you can make a lot of extra money from your channel as long as you're, again, providing a lot of value through entertainment, information, whatever the case may be, and building that relationship. And then of course, letting people know that you have the product or the service, and that does not make you a sellout. You'd be surprised how many people would want you to put these things out there. Sure, you'll get a couple people that might say, oh, you're a sellout, or why would I pay for that? But odds are those people aren't really your true hardcore fans. And if you're really worried about it, like honestly, those are the people, if anything, like I would just not worry about so much. And I'm not saying this just to say like, oh, you should only worry about the people that are willing to pay you money. No, there's gonna be a chunk of people somewhere in between there that they probably aren't willing to pay you for it. Okay, that's fine. But at the same time, they're not gonna be like, oh, you're greedy. They understand that, okay, this is what it takes for you to be able to do this better, to do it more fully, to take YouTube and maybe make better quality videos, be more, more videos from being able to go full time, right? Your true audience that actually likes what you're doing, they're gonna get it. They're not gonna care so much about you asking for money. So that being said, again, when you're doing that, asking for money, don't just do it to ask for money, do it with the presentation of, hey, here's a way I can help you. And again, know that the way you're gonna help them is worth way more than the money that they're paying. That being said, here's the video on how to make 10 times more money on YouTube. And if you would ever like me to help you with growing your channel and your income, I do offer consultations. I have a link for that in the description. If this video helps, subscribe and turn on all notifications, and I will see you either in that link in the description or this video next.